Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I thought we could talk about all the different ways that the universe communicates with us. All the different ways that we receive messages from our guides, our angels, our higher self, and source itself. Because when I say the universe, I'm talking about all of it, everything. Fairies, gnomes, the elements, animals. Everything in the universe is all connected. It's all energy, and we are one with it. And so we are constantly communicating with our energy, with the energy of the universe, and this energy is reacting and responding. All we are is pure energy densified into material. And if you can imagine the grid works and the networks, like neuronal systems working together and firing and communicating. The universe is always communicating. And also, if you think about the fact that we are multi-dimensional beings, so we have aspects of ourself that are elemental, that are fairies and gnomes, that are trees, that are animals and birds and bugs. We have aspects of ourselves that are higher dimensional, that are light beings, that are beings that can travel with our minds alone. We have an aspect of ourselves that is our higher self, and an even bigger aspect that is a higher self totality, like one that is even bigger than that. And then there's our aspect that is with source. So all of these aspects, all of these yous, all of these me's are always working to help ourselves. So you are always helping you. All these dimensional aspects helping you. So when the universe is speaking to you and sending you messages, remember, it's just you helping you. I think it's a really important point to remember that it is all us. Your higher self is just you on another dimensional plane. So when we call for help, when we ask for help, it's not outside of ourselves. It truly is all within. Everything you could ever need, want the answer to, it is all within you. Because the universe is always communicating and always keeping records. You've heard of the Akashic records, where the records of everything that has ever happened on this planet are kept. And is this a physical place? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think we really have the answers to that. Is it etheric? Maybe. I have an idea that it is crystalline, and whether it exists in this dimension or not is another story. But regardless of how these records are kept, the universe, we are always learning and always remembering in order to grow and evolve. And so these aspects of ourselves only want that for us, for the whole. And so we're always helping ourselves. So when we call our guides, we just need to remember, this is a part of me. I'm helping me. So a big part of the way the universe, us, send ourselves messages is through our intuition, through our feelings. This is one of the biggest ways and one of the most important things to learn to be able to trust. Your intuition will never, ever guide you astray. Your feelings are always telling you what's up. They're showing you exactly what's right and what's not right for you in this moment. And learning to listen to your intuition can be very simple. It's just a matter of trusting yourself. And there's lots of different ways that the universe teaches us to do just that, to work with our intuition and to listen and to trust it. And this is where all of the signs and synchronicities come in. All of the different signs that you may be seeing in nature, different animal medicine showing up for you at just the right time. How many of you see butterflies, dragonflies? That's a big one for me. I'll tell a little story about a dragonfly later. Hummingbirds, another big one. Especially when they come up and they just get right in your face, right as you were having this thought about someone or something. Nature, if you take a moment and just be in nature, put your phone down, breathe, just sit quietly in nature and look around and pay attention. There's so much that you will see. And when you're doing that, looking around, pay attention to where your thoughts are when you see certain signs or synchronicities around you. Because this is a big thing. When you see a synchronicity or receive a medicine sign, think about, what was I just thinking about? Where are my thoughts? This sign that was just given to me, how does this relate to what I was just thinking about and where I am right now on my path? And a lot of times, especially with nature or animal symbols, a lot of times I need to look them up. So there's so much information out there. It's really easy to find out what different animal totems or animal medicine symbols mean. And so it's always enlightening when you start seeing the same symbols, the same medicine signs. There's always a message there for you. And it's always centered around, where are your thoughts? So that's a really important thing to always come back to. Where are my thoughts when I'm seeing these things? Now, y'all know the numbers. How many of you see numbers? Numbers are a really big one for me. I love numbers. I love seeing them in triples and even in fours. That's really special. The 1111 or the 111. Those are great. Those are new beginnings, even opening up of a portal, walking into a new doorway, opening up a new path. It's an awakening. Ones are really fun to see. 222-333-444-555. The twos for me have been telling me to pay attention, look around, see what's going on, and really evaluate. Is this what you want? So I've learned for the twos, it's really asking me to question. And that can be different for anyone because, we can define what these signs and symbols mean for us. So when we start seeing them and we're not sure what they mean, we can work with our guides and we can say, hey, what does this mean? I'm not sure. But I think when you're showing me this, it means XYZ. And so if this is what you mean to show me, then show me this, and then I'll understand. And they will work with you. This law of free will, non-interference, it's pretty huge. So you have to ask and you have to work with them. Because here's the thing, it's constant. They are constantly showering us with messages and information. It's just, most of the time, we're not paying attention or we're not listening. Not listening is a really big one. That goes along with intuition too. Not trusting it, not listening to it, thinking it's just you having a silly thought. That gut instinct, that feels different. Always listen to that. That feels different than monkey brain. And you can start discerning those feelings by playing with the universe a little bit. Play with these numbers. I had a experience one time where I was going through some things in my head about someone I was thinking about. And I was having one of those moments driving where it was just like the songs were coming. Songs are a big one. The songs that remind you of people or make you think of something or have a line in it of something that you were just thinking about or something that you needed to hear. Especially if you're musically inclined, songs are going to be a big one. So I was having this drive and these numbers were coming and songs, and I was like, all right, you guys, is this what you're trying to tell me? Do I need to reach out to this person? If this is what you're trying to tell me, then I need to see some numbers. I didn't care what numbers. I stayed general. I want to see some numbers before I get home. And I was not very far from home. So I pull into my neighborhood, no numbers, and I was looking. And, when I ask, I look. Otherwise, you don't want to look. You don't go looking for these things. They just come to you. But so as I was driving home, I'm not seeing anything. I pull into my street, and there was this random car parked out front of my house. Never saw it before. Never saw it again. And what was on the license plate? 222. Of course it was. So I made that phone call. And what it turned out to be was that phone call was so necessary for me to gain a greater perspective in what was going on with where my mindset was. And it helped me to move on. And so that's what the universe was showing me, like, hey, face this and get this bigger perspective so that you can move on. So another way that the universe will send you a sign is through a chance meeting with someone. You meet somebody randomly on an airplane or in a line, you're waiting for a long time, and this person is giving you crazy good advice, or you have a ton of things in common, or you were just thinking about starting a project and this person does that for a living and is giving you excellent tips. Or even if it's not even that big and it's just someone in random passing that you happen to overhear something that they said that is exactly what you needed to hear. All these little things, not accidents. Certainly not a coincidence. Do you really believe in coincidences at this point, y'all? There are no such thing, right? If you ever read the book, The Celestine Prophecy, that'll clear that right up for you. It's such a great book. It was one of the first books I read. Highly recommend that to anyone, no matter where you are on your path. It's a fun read. So absolutely no coincidences. The universe is working out everything for you. You are working out everything for you. Another way you work out things for yourself is through your dreams. You are being given messages upon symbol in your dreams. Thing is, you can't be told straight out flat, because as Dolores Cannon says, it's not a test if you know the answers. And also, again, that law of non-interference. We have free will. We can't be infringed upon. And so our guides try to work with us in all these different ways possible to help us understand. And dreams are one of the biggest ways. So write down your dreams. If you're not dreaming, ask for a dream. If you need clarity on a situation going on in your life, ask for that clarity before going to bed and see what it is you dream about. Or if you don't remember your dreams, just see how you feel when you wake up in the morning. That feeling again. Trust the feeling. And if you start writing down your dreams, you'll start to see a pattern. You'll start to see and understand the symbols that you're being guided with. And then you can work with them. You can ask, hey, does this mean this? Show me this if this is what you mean. And again, they will work with you. Another one of the, probably one of the biggest ones that we all forget about, biggest signs and symbols, it's not a symbol, biggest sign that a message from the universe is through our body, through the symptoms or the signs that our body is giving us that something is not right, because it's the mind and the emotions that rule over the body. And when the mind and the emotions haven't been kept in balance, or they're not maintaining a love frequency, then the body is going to respond with pain. Pain's the biggest one. And other symptoms of disease if it continues to go further. So let's give some examples. Say you're someone who carries the weight of the world on your shoulders. You feel like it is your job to fix everything and do everything. Probably have back problems. Say you have diabetes. That one is a sign for being unable to grasp the sweetness in life, or not having enough sweetness in your life. Something simple like a cold or a flu, that can simply mean that you just need a break. And two, with a cold or a flu, you typically won't get sick unless you're already run down. You're already vibrating lower than you would prefer. You're not in that high love frequency. You've let yourself get out of balance. And when that's the case, that's when these little bugs can come in and take advantage. And that's okay, because sometimes we need to be put on our butts when we need a little break, if we're not taking it, if we're just powering through. So, the universe comes in and says, take a break. You're sick now. You need to take care of yourself. So, our body shows us in so many different ways what is going on with our mind and emotions. Now, speaking of all that stuff, I want to share a little story, kind of a personal story. So before I was pregnant with my son, Luca, who's now 16 months almost, my fiance and I, Brian, we knew he was coming. We had a moment. We were at the One Love Festival a couple years ago, and we were talking about having a baby. And as we talked about that, 2 dragonflies, mating dragonflies, came and just flew around us, above us, in circles. And we were like, okay, we see ya, we get it, we understand. It was about a week or 2 later that I came on the show with Brandon, and he had Colby Rebel on, and she did a reading, and she said that we were going to have a baby. And I said, yeah, I know. And a couple weeks later, we were in Laguna Beach, and we conceived the baby, and I didn't know. But that morning I was sitting out on the patio, and I look over on the chair next to me, and there's 2 mating flies just sitting there. They looked like they weren't moving at all, but they were just sitting there. And I was like, oh, okay. And then once I knew that I was pregnant, of course, we were very excited. And it was about a week and a half later when things weren't okay. Something was wrong, and I knew that these were symptoms of miscarriage. And so I immediately found, I hadn't even been to the doctor yet. I was only 5.5 weeks at this point. And so I found, it was Saturday, and I found a women's clinic that was open on Saturday, and they were so gracious, and they got me in immediately, pretty much. And I went in, and she did an ultrasound and saw that there was a fetal pole there. But she said, chances are you're probably miscarrying. So why don't you come back in a couple days, and we'll check you out again, and we'll see what's going on. Okay. So I go home, and Brian was actually headed into a medicine ceremony for the weekend. And so bad timing there. So I was kind of on my own with all of this, which was okay. And what happened the next day was I miscarried. Plain and simple. It was very obvious what was going on. And on Monday, I called the doctor and I said, I don't need to come in. Thanks so much. And that was that. Well, or so I thought. So none of this made sense to Brian or I, because he was getting signs during his ceremony about the baby. We had signs together about this baby coming, and it just didn't make any sense. It didn't feel right. And so a couple days had passed, and I kept getting this feeling of, this really, I'm still pregnant. There's a Nako song that has a line in it about a baby dying in a womb. And I had been listening to that song. And as I heard that, of course, I got very upset. And as I heard that, it was like a kick in my stomach, like a full-grown baby in my belly kicking me is what it felt like. And I was like, whoa, what is that? And then I was like, okay, it's just got to be gas, because that's crazy. I mean, even if there was anything there, there's nothing going to be kicking me. Well, but my intuition was telling me, no, you're still pregnant. But I thought that was crazy, because obviously I just had a miscarriage. So I started asking my guides, all right, do that again. And I asked the baby, if you're in there, do that again. And it happened again. So I was like, all right. And then I hear him say to me, the baby, don't worry, Mom, I'm just making room. What? What the hell? Really? Okay. So I kind of just took that as, okay, I'm just going to wait this out a little bit and see what happens. Because I know for sure my guides are not messing with me about this, because that would be just cruel, right? So then a day or two later, I start feeling like a little nauseous. And I'm like, all right, yeah. Listening to the signs from my body. So long story short, or short story long, I went back to the doctor because I was like, yeah, I don't know, you guys, I don't think this, I think I'm still pregnant. And they were like, yeah, all right, we'll see. They go in, they do an ultrasound, and what do you know? Heartbeat. And just as a little aside, here's the coolest thing ever. The first thing that is visible on an ultrasound, besides that little fetal pole, is, which, by the way, isn't a beating heart yet, right? Isn't a viable organism. So the first thing that you see when you have a living being is the heart. And the heart, all it looks like on the ultrasound is a flashing little light. It is the most beautiful thing. This heart, our center, is light. It's so beautiful to see it develop like that. So it turned out that when the baby said, hey, Mom, I'm just making some room, sounds like exactly what he was doing, making some room. So our theory is ultimately that there were two in there and only one stayed. But we knew, we trusted our intuition. We trusted all the signs and synchronicities. We trusted the feelings. And here he is. So I just thought I'd share that little story with y'all. It's a beautiful ending to what could have been a sad story. And you know, the universe never, ever, ever gives you anything you can't handle. And so I think that's something really important to remember, that everything is happening for us to help us grow. These challenges are all opportunities. And if we pay attention to all the messages around us, all the signs and symbols, all those little breadcrumbs that are available to us, we'll follow them and we'll stay on our path. All we got to do is just pay attention, listen, trust ourselves. Sounds so easy, right? Just trust yourself. But it is. Just get out of your own way. You know? Realize that you are this grand, multi-dimensional being that has infinite power and has the power to communicate on all these different levels and get messages from the universe and communicate with it on a regular basis. I think that's it for me today, y'all. I know we could talk about this for hours. There's so much more to talk about, but another time. I'm going to leave you with a song today. This is an acoustic version of Nako's Dragonfly from Cardinal Sessions. Until next time, everyone, love you all.
You should put that cigarette out. You should have faith in my mouth. Like my mother, like your son, like my temperamental lungs. Each piece fits into the next. Like I'm not black and I'm not white. Both revere me in my sight. You got twinkles in your eyes. You say vegetarians save lives, but there's your wings despite my back. There's your baby's bassinet. Will there be one more of me? Close my eyes and try to hide from my form of dragonfly. Yeah, dum da da dum dum da dum yeah, dum da dum dum da dum yeah, dum da dum dum. Little bear walk in the woods, chipped and peeled vehicles. Inland van under the covers, I've been stealing from my lover. Moments I cannot replace. To my former dragonfly, I resist and I survive. What a state I've brought this to. Logic lies of mine go through. But what's that say of my character? I retreat back into nature. Will there be one more of me? To my former dragonfly, I resist and I survive. I survive. This is resistance. I survive. I survive. This is resistance.